Joshua, when you think about where he was 5 years ago, total package, really seemed like had a chance to have a special career. Now you look at him in 2022, loses twice to Usyk. Comes back in the ring, has like one of the weirdest post-fight things we've seen in a while that I did not look great for him long term. And in general, like I bet on Usyk. I don't believe in Joshua. I just feel like give me more chances to bet against this guy. Raheem and I were talking about it. Who is his doppelganger? We were saying like he's basically Dwight Howard. He's Dwight Howard for boxing, where everything's there, but something's missing. What's missing with him?
Well, it's not what's missing as much as it's what left him back in 2017. People point to the Andy Ruiz fight as being the fight that changed Anthony Joshua. It happened before that. Vladimir Klitschko changed Anthony Joshua. That was his defining moment. He won the World Heavyweight Championship. He dethroned the best heavyweight of the previous generation. That was a true changing of the guard moment at Wembley Stadium in front of 85, 90,000 people. But how that fight ended has haunted Anthony Joshua throughout. Vladimir got knocked out. But before then, he put Joshua down and he hurt Joshua.
That fight was awesome.
Joshua, as he has done in fights before then, including Dillian Whyte, which was his statement win prior to that, he engaged. He got up, he engaged, he battled, and he scored a knockout. But he quite literally left that fight and told people around him, I don't want to fight like that anymore. I'm not going to have a long career if I fight like that anymore. That's the day or the fight that took away the killer instinct that Anthony Joshua had. You look at the numbers, Bill, the sheer numbers. Before the call of the Usyk fight, I was looking at the raw numbers. He went from being like a 60-40 power puncher up to Klitschko to being like 65-35 jabs after that. He tried to become more boxer than brawler. And when he was given opportunities to engage, he didn't take them. I mean, look, you go back to the 9th round of the Usyk fight. There were a couple of times there I thought even as great as Joshua fought, he let Usyk off the hook. If he had just swarmed him and thrown punches and let his hands go, I thought he could have found a way to at least put Usyk on the canvas and maybe staved off what happened in the 10th round of that fight. I just don't think he has that killer instinct that he had prior to Klitschko. Now, I don't really agree with him being disappointing because at the very least, the fucking guy's out there fighting people. Like, I'm so sick of all these boxers out there declaring themselves Hall of Famers. I'm a 2-division world champion. I'm a 4-division world champion. I belong in the Hall of Fame. Anthony Joshua fights tough fight after tough fight every single time out. He had the option before fighting Usyk the first time of just dropping that belt. He would have had 2 other belts. He wouldn't have to go in with a guy that just won 2 fights earlier, the undisputed cruiserweight championship, and knocked out his pal Tony Bellew. He could have dropped it. He could have passed on the rematch and taken an easier fight and still made a boatload of money fighting Tyson Fury. At least he's out there doing it. I mean, this goes down a rabbit hole, but today's boxers don't fight. They don't take on the toughest competition. You can't say that about Anthony Joshua, who in my mind still, even with these losses, has the deepest resume of any heavyweight in boxing.
I didn't think that was possible. An Anthony Joshua defense. That was incredible. The degree of difficulty was like a 9.8. You pulled it off.
And look, because I keep going back to Ali had 5 losses in his career. Anthony Joshua right now has 3. I'm not comparing the two as far as fighters goes, but you're telling me that if he goes out there, which he's going to, and knocks out a couple stumble bums on the European circuit, he's not going to be right back up there next summer in the conversation for a fight with Deontay Wilder, in the conversation for a fight against Tyson Fury. He's 32 years old. I think the pathway back is still there for Anthony Joshua.
The pathway is back for me to bet against him again, the way what you just laid out. A couple tomatoes and then one more big fight. Wilder is a good example, though. What does Wilder have left at this point? I mean, he took a lot of hits.
We're going to learn a lot. He's fighting Robert Helenius in October. We're going to learn a lot about Wilder in that fight. Helenius is this close to washed. Like, he's still credible because he knocked out Adam Kovnowski twice in the last 2 years, which makes him a legitimate opponent for Deontay Wilder. But Deontay Wilder, even at 80% of what he was should flatten Helenius. But Helenius can crack. He's 6'7".
Yeah.
He's a big guy. He can throw bombs. And if he catches Wilder and Wilder doesn't have the passion, that's what worries me about Wilder. Like, you can't just decide to get back into boxing because you like it and you want to make some money and people still want to see you. You got to want it. You got to be hard after it. I remember, the reason Tyson was finished at the very end wasn't just because of his age and eroding skills. He didn't want it anymore. He was just out there collecting paychecks at the very end. That's what worries me about Deontay Wilder, where that fire in the belly that got him through the Olympics, through all those early tests, through Fury in the first fight, in two great fights against Fury in the last time of it. I wonder if he still has that passion for the sport.
Is Usyk a generational guy for you, or is he one level below?
He's one level below right now, but if he can find a way to beat Tyson Fury, he's up there. Like, he becomes the greatest fighter of this generation. I mean, the cruiserweight tournament, nobody knows who these cruiserweights are, but they were great fighters. Like, the cruiserweight division is a way station for boxing. It's where you stop in on your way to heavyweight. But that cruiserweight tournament, he ran through some good guys, from Marco Huck to Maurice Breedis, all throughout that tournament. And then he turns around and just flattens Tony Bellew right after Tony Bellew flattened David Haye in back-to-back fights. So he's, I think he needs one or two more wins at heavyweight to put himself in that Mayweather, Pacquiao, De La Hoya category of the great fighters of this generation.
There's a little Hopkins feel to him where you just don't know how he keeps doing it. There's times in every fight where it feels like he's in trouble for 20 seconds, but there's some sort of boxing savvy, some natural DNA for what to do when the chips are down a little bit, that I think that's what makes him special to me. Like, that 9th round, it looked like he was going to get knocked out. Mm-hmm. And part of it was Joshua not totally realized the moment, but then the 10th round, Usyk comes back and it's like he gained strength from like, kind of staring at death's door for a second there. And he's better the next round. I would love to see him fight Tyson Fury.
Yeah.
Would he be outweighed by what? 60 pounds?
He came in
65 pounds?
He came in around 220 for this last fight. Fury, I would imagine, is in the 270s. So 50-ish.
Right. So 50 pounds. Oh my
50.
God.
But I would favor Fury in that fight significantly because Fury fights like a true big man. One of the only guys in boxing that fights like a big man. You watch back his fights, how he drains you is every time there's a clinch, he puts that 6'9", 270-pound frame right on your shoulders, parks it there, and leans on you. So you're holding up your weight and you're holding up his weight for 4 or 5 seconds, 3 times around. That wears on you over the course of a fight, and he'll do the exact same thing to Oleksandr Usyk, but Usyk's going to have a game plan, man. Like, he is going to have an excellent game plan, and he is going to make that a competitive fight. That guy is that talented. He is going to find a way to make you think during that fight that he's got a chance to win it.